Good evening, and welcome to this U.S. Competitiveness Paths Forward event that we have this evening. It's a true delight to welcome you all here in New York, the first city where we are trying to launch this phase of this U.S. Competitiveness Project. As I stand here today, here on the stage of Lincoln Hall, I'm reminded that how lucky I am in so many ways. I've often felt that my life has been, in so many ways, a manifestation of the American dream. I came to the United States for the first time, in fact, I'd ever traveled abroad when I was 21 to come to graduate school at MIT. And I graduated from MIT in 1988, and since then have been teaching at Harvard Business School. And each day that I've been at the school, I've had the sense that everything that lured me to America, the promise of the American dream, came true in more ways than one. And every time I thought the school couldn't give me more, it gave me yet more, including this amazing challenge of now being Dean of Harvard Business School. This dream, the American dream, is a very powerful dream. It's a dream that has lured so many people to this country. It's a dream that rests on the founding ideals of this country, on the commitment that it's had to its constitutional rights and to human rights, on its commitment to capitalism and democracy as two twin strands that have made us a great and prosperous nation. And this dream certainly came to its full flourish in the 20th century, when America was by far the nation that everybody looked to for almost anything in the world. Many people have described the 20th century as the American century. And as we look ahead, it's likely that this century, the 21st century in which we find ourselves, will now be a global century. But for the global century to be a century that provides prosperity to all, I think we all need to realize that America needs to be and needs to remain a very central part and a very competitive part of the global economy, because the world still depends deeply upon America's prosperity, as do we here in the United States. So it is this question at a time in which people worry about whether American prosperity is on the decline, that we at Harvard Business School decided to do what we could do at the school, which is to gather the faculty and to think hard about this question. Is what we are seeing currently simply a moment in which we are noticing a short-term decline as a result of the recessions that we had in 2008? Or is there a deeper problem that we need to be worried about and focused on? So what you're going to hear today is from a group of our faculty members who have been studying this question. We also went out, and thanks to all of you, conducted this survey where we got more than 10,000 of our alumni to respond to this question of what they thought was the state of American competitiveness and what they thought were the issues that we need to be focused on. We've also, as a school, decided that what we need to do is to use the convening power of the school to assemble all of you, to assemble business leaders both at Harvard Business School but then all across the country, to ask the question, are you convinced about the diagnosis that we have? Our diagnosis would suggest that this is a deep problem that we should all be concerned about. And that it's an issue in which, rather than just wait for the government to do something, we as business leaders have an opportunity to do some things ourselves. In fact, that has been one of the great distinguishing features of this project, that we're trying to focus our attention on what can business do. There are certainly things that we should expect our political leaders to do, but our question is going to be, what can everybody in this room do to enhance and advance U.S. competitiveness? Because let us be clear, our future depends on it. Our future depends on us taking our own future in our own hands. And what we're going to see today is a variety of ways in which you're going to hear from leaders in New York, from a wide variety of sectors in the second panel of the day, who are trying to find imaginative ways in which they themselves can contribute to the commons, in which they themselves can enhance U.S. competitiveness in a wide variety of ways. We have a full program. We're going to first hear from my colleagues, Jan Rifkin and Mike Porter, who have spearheaded this project. They will describe to you what we mean by U.S. competitiveness. They will describe to you the results of the survey. That'll be followed by a panel moderated by Adi Ignatius, where we have faculty members from across Harvard Business School who will describe to you some of the research that they've done. Then we'll have another panel that is moderated by Rana Faruhar of Time Magazine, of business executives who are trying in various ways in New York City to themselves affect this question of U.S. competitiveness. We will close with my colleague Bill George, the former CEO of Medtronic and now at Harvard Business School, who will describe what he believes business leaders can do across the country in terms of trying to advance US competitiveness on their own. It's a long program, 2.5 hours. It's a concert hall in which typically people would expect to get a break, but we're just going to try and power through. So this is Harvard Business School. We ask for your indulgence. Usually, even in our classes, we know that more than 90 minutes is long, but we thought it's best to get you back out of here and home to dinner at least by a decent hour. So stay with us, be patient, stretch if you want to, but I promise you we'll have a great program. So thank you again for being here. I'm so excited that we're beginning this program in New York City, the city where we have the largest number of alumni, and where if this city can't move on this question, I don't think we have a prayer of moving on this question. So thank you again for being here. With that, let me introduce my colleagues, Mike Porter and John Rifkin.